Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today I'm going to be going over how to play Disney Villainous Unstoppable. And at the end of the video, I'll give you my thoughts on the game. This is a new version of Villainous from Ravensburger, the same company that brought you Disney Villainous, Marvel Villainous, and Star Wars Villainous. But this is definitely a toned down version meant to be introductory level, family friendly, kid friendly. And I'm just going to be upfront. I really like what they've done with this one. I think they've kind of done what they set out to do. So in my setup here, I am all set up to play as Scar. But in this box alone, we have Maleficent. She could be placed here. We have Ursula here. And we also have Hades. So this board is very modular. It doesn't matter what side of the board you start on. And essentially on your turn, you're going to be moving always clockwise. You can see the arrows always move clockwise. You're going to be moving clockwise around the board. This is your realm. Only you can enter your realm. All right. Ursula could not make her way into these spaces on Scar's board. But when you exit your realm, you'll take a lap around 3/4 of the sides of the main board here, and then you'll come back into your realm. You're never going to go into anybody else's realm. When you land, you are then going to hopefully take the action of the space you land on. And these symbols are similar to Disney Villainous. For example, the power, which is the currency in the game, should be very familiar for you. And I'll cover these symbols here in a second. But just like you can upgrade your kind of actions on your board or improve them in ways, you can flip over these tokens, which are randomized at the beginning of the game to help with replayability. But by flipping these over, you now have created a spot with 2 symbols instead of 1. So we'll flip that back over. All of this is to say that what we're attempting to do is advance our evil plan. So the first character to advance their evil plan, which each character has a 4-step plan, wins the game immediately as soon as they do that. For Scar, they just need to bring their 4 hyena friends into the lair. So his 4 hyena friends sit over here, good to go. Ursula has 4 kind of fish in her realm, and she wants to flip them over to become unfortunate souls. Maleficent has this mini puzzle where she's turning into the dragon, and Hades wants to have his little titans here get onto the board and then move their way up to the top of Mount Olympus. All of them have 4 steps to it. All right. So on your turn, you're going to have 4 cards in hand. Each character has their own unique deck, but they're very similar. The artwork is full artwork, which I love, takes over most of the card. But then there's some symbols here along the left-hand side, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. So on your turn, you're going to play at most 2 cards. You have to play at least 1, but you can play up to 2, technically actually up to 3 when you get into these double action zones. The first card you're going to play is for movement, okay? So you can see I only have 2 choices for movement here, a 5 and a 3. So I may choose to pick one of these over the other because one of them may have the action I want to take. So let's just look at where 3 would get us. 1, 2, 3 would get us here to the Fate an Opponent. I have an option here to Fate an Opponent. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would get me to upgrade or advance my evil plan, which would be very good. But unfortunately, you can see that by moving 5, that puts me on that space, but I can't use the same card for movement to take my action. This is easily the most confusing, not necessarily confusing, but hardest rule for younger kids to wrap their heads around, is that the card you play is different for movement, is going to be different than the card you play for an action. This card would be perfect to move 5, stop on that action, pay 2 power, and be able to advance your evil plan. Unfortunately, by moving 5, I forfeit this card, and I have to pick from these 3 remaining cards. So let's just pick one here. Obviously, we're going to pick, we'll pick 3. So we'll just say, I'm going to pick this one. I will discard off the side. I move 1, 2, 3. And now here I'm on this action here. Now, at this point, I have moved. I don't have to play a card to take an action. I could, however, if I want to, play this card here. It has the matching symbol and has a power cost below it. So I could play this card to fate another individual. So the cost of this action is 3, and actually you should start with 3 power as setup. So I should have had 3 power over here to begin with. I could take this power, turn it back into the center, and take that action. Fating an individual works very similar to the main villainous game. You're just taking a character that is attached to them. So Simba, Nala, and Scar are always, Simba, Nala, and Pumbaa, Timon are always going to be on Scar's board. They're never going to be on anybody else's board. But at this point, you're going to take the lone die in the game here. You can see it's just 3 sides, and it has these symbols here, triangle, square, and circle. You're going to roll it, and you pick who you're going to fate first. So maybe I want to, or if somebody was fating me, they would roll this, and they would take the Timon and Pumbaa token here, and they would pick any one spot to cover up. In order to get rid of that card, I simply have to land on this symbol, pay then a card and power to get rid of Timon and Pumbaa. Until I remove this card, I cannot take this action. I cannot even stop on this spot. I skip over it when I do my counting. So obviously people would probably want to focus on the advanced evil plan spot. Now, it is random which character you put out. It doesn't really matter, though, which character goes out because they all function the same. However, if, say, somebody fated me with Timon and Pumbaa, and then somebody else wanted to fate me because I was leading and they rolled the circle again, Timon and Pumbaa are already out on the board. I would simply have to give up 2 power, whether I had it or not. If I didn't have it, then nothing happens. That would be my penalty for being fated. They wouldn't just pick somebody else. So rolling the die and the randomness of choosing who goes out does matter. Essentially, you're just going to keep going around and around in a circle, playing a card for movement, then playing a card for your action until somebody has advanced their evil plot. So let's quickly go through all of the different actions on the board here. This one here is gain power. This is the only action. You can see it comes in various shapes and sizes. There's even some of your discs that are going to give you 3. If I can find it, it's probably going to be, yep, the last one. No, Scar doesn't have one. Interesting. Everybody's chips are different, and I have yet to play as Scar. But other characters have ones that are 3. But simply when you land on this space, you don't have to play a card. You gain that power to your supply. We already talked about this symbol here. You pay the card that has the matching symbol, pay this power, and you get to remove somebody that's blocking your realm. This one here is your upgrade your realm action. You simply pick one of these discs and you flip it over. Your space now has double actions that you can take. This one is fate another person. And the last one, which is only going to appear in your realm, is the upgrade. Advance your evil plan action, which looks like this kind of tower here. Now, it's important to note that if you land on something that is a double space and you have a card that can pay for that. In this case, I could, if I had 2 power in my personal supply, I could pay 2 power to advance my evil plan. All right. But there's 2 symbols here. In order to take this second action, I would have to have a second card in hand and enough power to pay for that second action in order to do both of them. So just because you land, and if I, for example, had a card like this that has 2 symbols on it, or this one, and those happen to be the 2 symbols that I landed on, the rules state that you still have to play a second card, that card does not count. My children, however, since we have been playing this, have house ruled that if you're lucky enough to have that card and get things to match up and you play it at the right time, then you only have to play 1 card. And I'm perfectly fine with that house rule. Seems like a little bit of a bonus for playing strategically, in my opinion. Paying attention to your cards and looking at what is coming up. So at the end of your turn, you're simply going to take 1 movement, 1 action, or 2 in this case, and then you're going to draw back up to 4, depending on how many cards you played. You're usually going to draw at least 1. And that's it, because it's going to go to the next person, and then around the table, however many people you have, you can play this as low as 2 or up to 4. And you just keep taking turns until somebody completes their evil plan. And that's it. That's how you play Disney Villainous Unstoppable. So, what are my thoughts on the game? I actually really enjoyed this game. I enjoy Disney Villainous. I really enjoyed the first one the most, actually, the Disney one. The second one with Marvel, where it was just a single fate deck and any superhero could go attack anybody else, was okay, but it wasn't as thematic as Disney was, where the movie specific characters were coming out on your board. And then there was Star Wars Villainous, which was a step up in complexity and is still a good game, but there's more stuff that you have to wrap your head around in Star Wars Villainous, making it a much more complicated and longer game. This one, I was pleasantly surprised by. I immediately started playing it with my kids, and I've only played it with my kids, but I could see myself playing this with adults as a warm up game to a game night, or even just with a group of adults who are not into super strategy heavy board games. It works for all. It plays quickly. On average, maybe 30 minutes per game. It really comes down to, there is a little bit of luck involved, with the cards that you draw and where your chips come out. If you end up on a space like this where you could double advance your plan and have the cards to do it, you could really jump ahead. That's just luck. And sometimes I've had, I personally have yet to win the game. My kids have won every game so far, and they sometimes get lucky. Sometimes you can tell that they're planning ahead and looking ahead at what they do, but there is really no wrong way to play. And I think this is just a great introductory, simplified version of Disney Villainous. Hopefully, this will teach them enough of kind of the symbols and landing on a symbol and taking that action and advancing your evil plan in a way that is necessary, that in the future they'll be able to play Disney Villainous the full game with me. And I think that's what Ravensburger was going for here, is an introductory game to Disney Villainous with Unstoppable. One that plays quickly, very simple rule set, there's only so many. All of the symbols here fit on one side of a player aid. Everybody has a special player aid that's unique to them because it tells them how they win, specifically, a little note about them and what you do on your turn. Perfect. Everybody's got one of these. This is all they need. You can teach the game in under 10 minutes easily, I feel like. And I have had, let's see, the youngest I've had playing this was 9. I've yet to try my 7-year-old on it. It says 7+, but I feel like the right 7-year-olds definitely would be able to pick up and play this game. The artwork is great and amazing. It's that classic Disney hand-drawn artwork. But it's not screenshots from the movies. So it's all unique artwork redrawn, but with that classic Disney look to it. I personally hope they come out with expansions for this. I would love to see just more characters. I've played as Maleficent, Hades, and Ursula so far. I haven't played as Scar yet. There's not really much of an asymmetry to them, but there is a slight asymmetry to them. Not so much that you have to strategically play differently, but for example, Maleficent here does not have any advance her evil plan cards, locations, without upgrading her realm first. So when you play as Maleficent, you are definitely looking to take the upgrade action as much as possible. Whereas Ursula starts with 2 of those spots out, but she has, I think it's only 1 in her chips. Scar here has just 1, but as you notice as I was flipping over, he's got 1, 2, 3 more, so he can get a lot of them out, but he's kind of a poor man's character because he doesn't have a 3 spot. So again, everybody is asymmetrical, but not so much that you couldn't sit down with somebody new in game 2 and have to relearn how to play. In Disney Villainous, you're literally reading a small booklet, figuring out how to play as your character before you sit down and actually play the game. You don't need to do that with this one. So I'm giving this one 2 thumbs up, especially for families. Anybody who is a fan of Villainous and is looking for something quicker, lighter, or for kids, this is definitely up your alley. If anybody is a fan of Disney and looking for a great family weight game, this is right up your alley, or even anyone who is just a fan of Disney and, you know, is a heavy strategy gamer like me, but, you know, just loves the IP. The artwork is great. It's great to look at. It's a very colorful game. You know, the really nice kind of stiff plastic pieces here that are not going to break if kids play with them. I mean, I other than the little bit of randomness where one person can jump way ahead of the other if they get lucky, problem with the game. That's really my only negative about the game. And honestly, just shuffle everything up and play again, because the games happen quickly. So not a huge problem. But yeah, I'm hoping, I would love to see expansions of these in the future. Ideally, what I would love to see, because I have Disney Villainous, is expansions that give you both, like a 2-character pack where it's going to give you the board and the cards for Villainous Unstoppable, and the same mover can be used for Disney Villainous and Disney Villainous Unstoppable, and then the special board and cards for because these tokens literally are the same. The movers are essentially the same. So yeah, I almost feel like there could be some overlap, you know, expansions here in the future. I don't know if that's what they have planned, but that would be nice as far as the wallet was concerned. Anyways, looking forward to more of this. Highly recommend this one. I think it's like $20 at Target right now. So an absolute steal for the quality here and what you're going to get as far as satisfaction with the family is concerned. So go pick this one up. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Disney Villainous Unstoppable. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.